Based on the poll that we did quite recently, top video that you guys were looking for was my investment strategy for 2020. I'm not going to beat around the bush with this one because I feel like it's pretty important to talk about. With the whole coronavirus, and I'll be honest, it's a little more serious than I had originally anticipated. I actually decided to go into cash at the moment. And by cash, I'm talking here about a GIC. So I did liquidate my positions, and it's just temporary. Oh, hey, Dad.
Brent, what are you doing?
What are you still doing here?
I'm just doing some paperwork. Did I just hear you say you sold everything and went to cash because of the coronavirus?
Well, just temporarily because, I'll wait for the market to go down and then I'll just buy back in when...
Haven't I taught you anything?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Good luck.
Sorry, Dad.
It's okay.
You guys know I'm totally joking there, but in all honesty, we are going to be talking about my actual investment strategy for 2020, which does not involve going into cash. If it is your first time here, guys, my name is Brandon. We post videos every week, and you can learn about our investing academy. If you are a beginner, that'll be that first link down below. I know we got the coronavirus. I know we got recession talk on the horizon. We obviously got elections coming up. There's all sorts of things going on. My investment strategy, believe it or not, really hasn't changed all too much. And this is something that I always try to stay pretty consistent and pretty methodical on. When I built my portfolio, I didn't want it to take over my life. I wanted it to be a complement of my life. My portfolio just kind of sits there in the background and does its thing. And rather than going out and actually trying to pick different areas to be in and when I should be selling out and when I should be buying in to time all these events that are going on all around the globe, I really did just strive, and I do just strive for that passive, diversified approach. And, this is a chart that I constantly revisit. If you haven't seen this before, it basically just takes the asset classes, like different types of investments, and just plots them, right? Best performance up top, worst performance on the bottom. And it is just scattered all over the place. Year to year, we have no idea what's going to be performing well, what's going to be performing poorly. You take a look at some of the best performing assets, year following, there's some of the worst performing assets, or vice versa. One thing that is very constant during, taking a look at this chart is these little white bars or these little gray squares, which represents a diversified asset allocation portfolio. And I get questions from subscribers, from friends and people all the time just saying, what should we be investing in right now? What are the good areas to invest in? Should I be in oil? Should I be in finance, financial sector? Should I be in healthcare? Rather than going out and trying to pick where to invest and time this and that, the diversified approach of just spreading your branches, getting a little bit exposure to each area, and really just spreading your risk amongst different assets, that's a strategy that works really, really well for me. And what's super good about a strategy like that is that you don't have to do all too much leading up to a recession or leading up to a coronavirus scare or whatever the case is. That's the whole point of having a diversified portfolio like this, where you've got exposure to each of the sectors, you've got your safe assets, you've got your risky assets. It's the construction, it's getting that right that allows you to not really worry about what's going on in the market. So when I say that I haven't really done all too much, that's really the truth of it. And I know people tend to think because I have a YouTube channel here, I'm constantly scouring, the markets and crunching numbers and metrics. Not at all. In fact, I think it's fair to say a lot of you subscribers at home, you guys probably check your portfolios and you're much more involved in your investments far more than I am. I'll take a look at my watch list every morning. I'll look at what stocks are doing well, what stocks are doing poorly, and just make sure that none of my names or none of my stocks are in the news for whatever reason. But other than that, the types of companies that my portfolio is comprised of, I've got nothing but confidence in them. So there's really not a whole lot to worry about in terms of my strategy changing. I have made a couple minor changes, and this isn't anything recently. This isn't this week or today. These go back into late 2019 when I did add some gold to my portfolio. And for gold, actually, it was my first gold stock in a long time. I decided to go for Barrick Gold, ticker ABX, which as of recently has done really, really well. When the market, on Monday, yesterday, when the market was down 1,000 points, it's actually been doing well just in general, which was awesome. So that's been, I guess you can call it a little hedge, very small position there. as well as bonds. Believe it or not, I actually did add bonds to my portfolio. Again, this is back in 2019. Just in anticipation for this, I was targeting initially a 10% weighting to bonds. I've been adding more money to my portfolio, so it's probably somewhere around 4 to 5% now. So really nothing major at the end of the day. I'm still being quite selective with my purchases in the market. And I mean, yesterday we had the 1,000 point drop in the Dow, right? Huge sale. Everyone online is talking about sale, sale, sale. Like, we got to go out and buy Amazon and Apple and all this stuff now. I'm still not jumping out to go buy stocks on a discount like this, because let's keep in mind, huge one-day drop. But in the big scheme of things, I still don't feel like our market is crazy. It's still pretty up there, right? Fairly valued. I think it's fair to say maybe a little bit overvalued, but definitely not a market where I'm rushing to deploy money in. So yeah, not a whole lot of action, pretty standard. But like I said, the areas that I have been adding a little bit of energy, gold I added back there, haven't done much else. But other than that, guys, it really is just staying the course. It's to me, this is what investing is all about, is setting that strategy, setting those targets beforehand, so that now when we come into these tricky situations with the virus, with the markets at all-time highs, we've got our target set, we've got our assets spread out, we've got at least a plan that we can execute, rather than just winging it and making these impromptu decisions as we see news articles come in and all sorts of events happening. This is just a strategy that fits well with my lifestyle, and I'm not saying in any way that this is what you should do. I apologize if you were looking for a more in-depth strategy, more in-depth insight, but that is just really what I'm doing. And if anything, I hope that can kind of show you just that sometimes just doing nothing and just continuing on and staying the course is sometimes the best thing to do, or that's at least what I like to do. Be consistent, stick to your plan, stay invested. I'm not making any drastic moves, pulling out of the market or doing this or that. I'm just being cautious, being careful with what I invest in, but just letting the markets do their thing, because we still don't know how long this market could push up. I say that time and time again. We just want to be invested, right? As long as we have our butts covered with a good balanced strategy, I think we should all be fine. And that goes for any age, right? Not just a 24-year-old. You can do the exact same thing if you're 30, 40, 50, 60. You just got to have the right balance for you, the right allocation to the right types of assets, so that you've got your safety components, you've got your growth components. That's really what it all comes down to. If you enjoyed today's video, if you found it helpful, feel free to give this one a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I post a video here every week, so subscribe. Maybe I'll knock off the next one that was on our poll, which was ETF investing, top things to know, or 10 things to know. That's one that I'm really looking forward to doing. If you are new to the channel and you haven't heard about our Investing Academy, click the first link down below. We're helping beginners, Canadian beginners who are just starting out. We teach them, we take them through the entire process of building a strategy, finding an asset allocation that works for them, and we actually show them how to go out and build their portfolios using Questrade. Doesn't have to be Questrade, but that's just what I use. But yeah, that'll be that first link down below if you're interested in becoming one of our students. But as always, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little update here, and I'll see you in the next video.